Hi, let's talk about probate real estate. Doesn't it feel like everyone's telling you it's just so easy to make money with probate real estate? So today I'm going to share with you the real deal. And this is from the perspective of someone who's not trying to sell you something or offer a course or anything like that. I'm a professional executor and a probate attorney. And what that means is I'm actually the guy on the other side of these transactions. I'm the one selling probate real estate. So I can tell you what it feels like to be on the other side of all these guys who are probate real estate investors. And maybe that'll help you in your investing or real estate flipping journey. Yeah. So we're going to talk about 5 myths. All right. Myth number 1, that probate real estate is some sort of gold rush. Right. A lot of folks seem to think that there's like an avalanche of real estate deals from dead people, essentially. My opinion, and I'm in New York City, so there's plenty of valuable real estate here. Not so much. So here's how I see it. And this is my experience. This is not based on any scientific study. But just think of the universe of real estate. So number 1, you're dealing with estates. So you're narrowing the universe of all real estate in the United States to real estate that was owned by somebody who recently died, right? So just in terms of a funnel, you're immediately very narrow. Then it has to be real estate that was owned by somebody who recently died that's worth something, because a lot of the real estate that was owned by somebody who recently died is not worth much at all. I mean, maybe you think it's reclaimable or salvageable, but from an estate perspective, sometimes it's just really, really like vacant land level kind of stuff. All right. Then you're further narrowing your universe to estates with real estate that's worth something, and they actually want to sell it because often the family wants to just keep living there, right? Or they think they want to keep it because they want to be the next Donald Trump or real estate mogul or whatever, right? And then lastly, you need there to be real estate that was owned by somebody who died recently that's kind of worth something, where the owners don't want to stay there or keep it themselves, and there has to be some sort of motivating factor or some reason why they're going to sell a little bit below market value. Otherwise, it's just like any other deal, right? So that feels like a lot of narrowing to get to like a hot deal in a probate situation. And to me, and based on my experience working, we do hundreds of probates a year, I guess. I don't see it that often. Okay. So it's not as rare. I wouldn't say it's as rare as a needle in a haystack, but it's still pretty rare. I would say it's like trying to find a bag full of marbles in a haystack. You could totally find it a lot easier than a needle, but it's not nearly as prevalent as people make it seem. Right? All right. So the next, myth about probate real estate is that it's a bunch of free leads. So the way it's sort of presented out there is that, oh yes, people die and death records are centralized. So all you have to do is cross-reference that with real estate, and bing, bang, boom, you have this list of hot real estate leads that are ready for you to pounce on. I don't know, right? So number 1, it takes a lot of work to put together those lists, and your time is not free. Your time is worth something. So, for example, I'm not in New York, at least. None of the courts allow online access to the death records. I'm pretty sure that's for privacy reasons, and I'm pretty sure it's to protect the families of the deceased from, unsavory real estate investors, essentially. As a matter of fact, you're not even allowed to bring in a USB drive or a camera. You might think, I'll just whip out my smartphone, take pictures of the screen, and then just give it to a VA or something like that, a virtual assistant. No. If they see you, in New York at least, taking a photo of the screen, you'll get thrown out. A bailiff will come and escort you out of the building. So you have to come in with a piece of paper, and a pen or pencil, and you will manually be writing down entries from the death records. And then you have to cross-reference that against real estate records. This is a lot of work, right? Or you can pay somebody to do it, but if you're paying somebody else to do it, this is not free leads anymore. This is the same level of work or investment as any other kind of lead generation, whether you're building a list of people who are moving or things like that. It's the same. So I don't see it as anything above and beyond what your normal lead generation process would be like. All right. Next, let's talk about, there's a myth that probate properties with probate properties, the estate or the families are under some kind of intense pressure to sell. And because of that, who doesn't like to buy from a forced seller? You're going to get a great deal. This is sometimes true. Maybe A very small percentage of the time, though. So any professionally advised executor or surviving family knows to just tell creditors to, let me roll that back a little bit. The assumption is that families are under intense pressure to sell because they're getting pressure from estate creditors or they have bills to pay. But again, any professional executor or attorney advising a surviving family knows to basically just tell creditors, no, we're not paying you till the end of the probate process. Stop calling us. We'll get back to you in 9 months. That's it. So where's the pressure? Once you put that hand in their face, the creditors stop calling, and that's it. And you don't hear from them until the end of the process. So that kind of debunks the notion that getting calls from creditors is a reason for a family to sell below market value. Yeah. We've never had a creditor run interest or penalties on a bill, whether it's American Express, Time Warner Cable, Verizon, whatever, once you tell them that it's somebody who passed away. What company wants to be known as the one on Twitter or social media, because it's so easy to post up a screenshot or a photo of a bill saying you owe, $300 in back interest on a cable bill for someone who died 6 months ago. That would be a total PR nightmare. No company does that, right? The only entity that charges interest and penalties on deceased, can anyone guess? It's the IRS, because they can get away with anything and they want their money. So yes, if there's tax problems, that's one of the few situations where, the family might have pressure to sell. But even the IRS, if you just talk to them, they actually have pretty good payment plans. Talk to any, credit repair person or tax accountant. And as long as you keep talking with the IRS or the state taxing authority, you can work out a payment plan. So again, no pressure there either. One of the other types of pressure is if the house is unoccupied and there's ongoing bills. If it's a condo, you might have maintenance. If it's a house, you might have water bills or property taxes or homeowners associations fees. But often that's not going to be a huge number compared to, it's not going to add up to a huge savings for you as the buyer. It can be something, but it's not going to move the needle for what most probate real estate investors are thinking about, the kind of haircut they want to get. All right. So let's talk next about, let's see here. There's a myth that, some people believe that only the executor is allowed to list a property. So this is true. This is mostly true. If you're a real estate broker or agent and you're looking to get deals from probate property, to be safe, you can only get your exclusive signed by the duly named executor of the property. But there's one trick to this. In New York and many other states, if there's no will, technically the property immediately divises or goes down to the heirs, the default heirs. So what that means is, let's say dad passes away, survived by daughter and son, and there's no will. So technically you probably can't close on the sale until you get letters of administration from the local probate court. But there is a strong argument that both daughter and son have the legal right to sign a listing agreement with you. So don't lose out on a deal because you are waiting for letters. Get in there, and it might there might be a little bit of a battle, but because they are the heirs at law, you might be able to get a listing signed before maybe a competitor. Okay. Another myth that kind of drives me crazy actually is that you'll find success with probate real estate by sending a ton of letters, letter bombing, letter campaigns, drip campaigns, boom, 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 and that with 7 touch points you'll wear down or I don't know the executor or the family will decide to sell to you. You got to be kidding me. Does anyone like this? In your personal life, do you like receiving 7 to 10 letters from the same person that you've been ignoring all the time? And then add on top of that you're dealing with a recent death in the family and they're kind of all over that situation. That's just ghoulish. We get these all the time because as an attorney and as an executor, I'm listed on multiple probates at any given time, and we get letters all the time. It has never come off as helpful or useful information. And I basically, it might be somebody who, if I had been referred to outside of this process, I would have maybe considered them. But because of that ghoulish tactic, they might actually be on the the naughty list, and maybe I wouldn't deal with them. So instead of that, if you're going to do it, if you're going to be a letter bomber on probate real estate, you have to offer incredibly valuable information. I'm tired of these form letters that say, first wrote, please accept my condolences. I know this is a hard time for you. You didn't even look at the fact that I'm not related to the decedent. I'm an attorney who's a professional executor, so it's clearly a form letter, right? And secondly, you got to realize that I'm getting 5 to 10 of these per estate. Stand out. Do something useful. Give me an appraisal, or send me some comparables. Do something that makes me think, oh, you know what? This guy already did some work for me. Let me get back to him. If you're just sending the standard, I'm an all cash buyer, I can close in 30 days. That's everybody. You've offered no value whatsoever. You've just wasted everyone's time. All right? You wasted your own time. I don't want you to waste your time either. I want you to be a useful buyer for somebody who needs you, So, all right. Lastly, let's do some quick thoughts on how you can actually get probate properties. And it all centers on actually adding value to the executor, to the family. I just talked about one. Instead of tempting somebody with an offer to give an estimated value. Some people do that. They send a letter and say, call me back or sign up for my email list and I'll give you an appraisal of your property. Just give it to them, right? It'll put you 2 steps above everyone else around you. Offer ancillary services. Many of these situations will require a clean out. For anyone who's not familiar with that, that means the house is... I won't go so far as to say, hoarded. Everyone knows, what a hoarder is, right? But it'll be full with a lifetime's worth of possessions, not many of which are of any financial value. So that's actually a big process. And from my perspective as a professional executor, I know that it'll cost the family anywhere from $2,000 to even, I've seen it as much as $10,000 to haul all that out and bring the property up to sellable condition, just getting all that stuff out, right? Imagine moving plus clean out, that's a lot of cost added up. And now you don't have to do that at any sort of discount, but if you have to manage that situation for them, you've stood out from the crowd. You're offering a value that's very useful to the family, especially if they live in a different state or of a different country from where the person passed away or where the property is. Right? And you can even put a little markup on that, make some cheddar on your end of the deal. But because you're organizing it, that itself is valuable. All right. Just be aware that the haircuts are getting thinner and thinner. And what I mean by that is, you may think that if you offer all cash and you're willing to close in 30 days, you can legitimately come in, 30 to 40% below market value, fair market value. It's just too competitive. Maybe that was the case 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Think closer to 10 or 20% as your discount for just being all cash. And if you want more of a premium, you need to be able to take sticky situations. You need to be able to take something that's maybe in foreclosure or has a tenant who's not quite ready to leave yet. And those are the problems that you'll be solving that'll get you a much better spread and profit on your deal. Okay, so that's all I have for the 5 myths about probate real estate. I hope you found this useful. If you're a real estate investor, I wish you all the best luck in your real estate ventures. You've come across a deal in the New York area, happy to help. Let me know and take care. Bye now.